Welcome back, everyone, to Worlds 2023, where we've got JDG versus BDS in just a little bit. So we've got a special guest. Hysterics has joined us, and in fact, it is the very first time we get to see you on a Worlds broadcast.
Hey, it's my absolute pleasure. I mean, honestly, building up to this moment has been great. Being on the desk with you guys as well, I feel like I don't know, I'm such a small fry. I'm not worthy, man. It's like Wayne's World. I feel like I'm just in the presence of legends.
Wayne's World.
Whoa, now we feel
Yeah, now I feel out of place. But hey, we're so happy to have you. You absolutely deserve to be here, and we're super happy that you're here. Also, as an LPL representative, we need you dearly because I think we're pretty excited about the field that LPL is sending to Worlds.
We've been waiting a while to see LPL as well. Again, you know, we've got a little taster to warm things up, and I feel like so far, we've had some slower games as well to start off the Swiss stage, so I'm kind of excited to speed things up a bit and get some teams that really punch the metal in the first 15 instead.
Yeah, 4 of the next 5 games are going to have an LPL representative. How high are the expectations since it was an LPL versus LPL final at MSI?
I think even higher than then, right? Because LPL has leveled up massively. I know we'll be talking about it across the day and when I jump on cast as well, but LPL has since become such a dominant region. With our 4 seeds, I'm being confident that all of them make it out of Swiss, but of course I'll tell you more about that later.
Yeah, we can. Here we see a little updated bracket, of course, the 1-0 pool. We've got T1 and Gen.G and Cloud9, and then we got the 0-1 pool with the Mad Lions, GAM, and TL.
Yeah, and as a note for those of you new to this format, which is all of us, the 1-0 pool will have 8 teams at the end of the day because 8 teams will win. They will then be drawn at the end of the day to say who plays who tomorrow. Same thing's going to happen with the 0-1, and we're going to have 8 more best of ones tomorrow as well.
Yes, it's interesting. I think you can't really grasp yet. Of course, it's great to have a win. It sucks to have a loss, but it's only until you actually see those opponents.
You could still get a good matchup in the next round.
Or a bad matchup.
And make the run.
Yeah.
So you're not up against the wire yet.
The other thing that's really we're grasping it now is how little time teams will have to prepare for each other tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because you can't just have like 15 prep docs ready that goes into detail about every single possible opponent, but that's actually what's happening depending on the results today.
I mean, it's hard. You got to prep in advance. That's what makes this format so exciting. So the teams that are more adaptable are going to be better in the end of the day.
So we prepped for all the teams at Worlds. The coaches for these teams have prepped for all the teams at Worlds, is all I'm saying.
Just
coaches
let me tell you,
earn their keep.
You're cramming the night before. Like to do deep prep on 15 teams is impossible, especially when you have no stage knowledge of them from the last 2 months.
And that's why we always give a lot of the advice, especially for early in international competition, for teams to focus on what their strengths are and just build out on their strengths.
Caps' dad is just yelling at us.
What a legend.
I'm a big fan, big fan.
Big fan.
We'll talk him up,
We're
mate.
smiling, exactly. Anyway, he said smile for BDS, and that's good. He's moving us along.
He is.
We need it, because JDG versus BDS, possibly the most lopsided matchup on the first day Worlds, perhaps?
The one we just saw was really lopsided.
That's true.
But this will be more. I'm just going to tell you right now, this is going to be more. I'm really confident in JDG. I mean, not only the way they finished the split, yes, going 5 games against LNG, but the fact that this team is so adaptable. This team is just so good in best of 1s, best of 3s. Of course, they don't play too many. I am so confident in JDG, and I could talk them under a bus because this team is leading up to the Golden Road, the MSI Championship, of course, spring before that to lead them as the first seed, and then summer reversing against LNG, against that 2-1. How can you not be against our first seed?
Yes, and we have a Golden Road attempt graphic here, and you know, what is it that makes it so elusive, even if you stand head and shoulders above the rest, seemingly?
Yeah, it's just incredibly hard because the meta does change pretty significantly throughout the year. You get basically no breaks, and you need to always be the best. That's one of the reasons it's so hard. JDG, though, I know you can always say this about recency bias, but they seem very well positioned. I think they are a strong favorite, and a lot of that has to do with just the strengths of their players and what I feel like the current balance of the game is.
And to your point of changing metas over the years, this year it's been fairly consistent in that need for supremacy in team fights, which is one of the things that JDG brings above all. Having Knight and Ruler, creating space for Knight and Ruler, having 369 in the top lane, probably best tank player to ever play the game.
I love it. I love what you say, creating space, because that's what 369 is so good for. That's what missing is relegated to Rakan duty for. You know, 369 with the Ornns as well. JDG have a system that works, and as you said, the meta not being too far off, we can still see that here in Worlds, even with more diverse picks as well.
As we see the arrival footage of the teams, of course. Now, you brought up 369 already, and I want to bring up Adam as well as we get into BDS, of course, a team that we saw in the Worlds qualifying series and in the planes. Usually in LEC, they do a crazy arrival video, though, but I guess...
Wait for the surprise.
I guess it's too stressful.
Wait for it.
This is just the normal arrival.
Yeah.
And the clown.
Okay. Maybe the game is like the joke. I don't know. Hopefully not. There he is, though. Adam, let's talk about him and his gods, the champions that he's played in Garen, Olaf, Darius, and Set during the planes, and how this has taken on a life of its own.
So a lot of people are still waiting for the Set, but technically he played Sion, and that is an S champion also.
Counts.
So I think he's completed the gods already. Boom.
I agree. He's also really good on those. But it's cool how this in the Korean community as well, Jad, this has taken off, this meme.
Yeah.
They were really cheering for it on the lock-ins.
I mean, absolutely. He has so much flair as a player. He brings you a unique style of play. Winning on Garen top lane at Worlds, something no one had done before. And I also think he's very good at understanding space and how to play the map from low range. So that's one of the reasons I think he's drawn towards these champions, because they are so strong from close range, but it's about how he sets himself up before these fights happen for the fairly easy to execute champions to succeed.
And it's that setup that's unpredictable. That's what I love about Adam. You don't know what to expect. For me, it was so great when he talked about wanting to verse the Shy, because I see this guy as EU the Shy right now. He's unpredictable, he's crazy, and he will flip an entire game because he knows he can, because he's confident that he is the better player.
We love playing him, but as you say, sometimes it is about flipping, and we mentioned it already. 369, greatest tank player at the tournament, perhaps. So how is that going to work, Hysteric?
It's going to be interesting because, again, it's not like he can't play carries. I think people have it in their head that 369 only plays tank. Well, yes, in the system of JDG and how they currently function. However, 369 in the past has taken after players like the Shy with his champion diversity as well. Things like the Quinn, things like the Renekton. That's in the wheelhouse. So my biggest question is he going to match? Because, of course, he hasn't really played much of these other champions that Adam's repping as well.
I love it, the gods.
Doesn't he have a pretty good relationship with a Garen player from the LPL, though?
I believe so. You can't quote me on that, but I still know that he's never touched the champion.
Yeah. And also never lost versus it, so that's a plus.
There you go.
Yeah, not
100%.
Everybody can say that here at Worlds. That's how that works. In any case, when we talk about BDS as well, I think Adam has gotten a lot of the spotlight because of the meme and everything, Kobe. But for instance, the support is also someone we can give a couple of flowers to after their reverse sweep.
Yeah, I definitely think Labrov deserves a lot of credit for the work that he put in so far this tournament to get them here. And BDS is a team that's been underestimated their whole year. Every step that they've taken has been a very difficult one, and they've been able to do it, with the reverse sweep. So this is, again, as you set it up, trying to go against Goliath. JDG here with a tournament favorite, but that is a big moment for this team.
Yeah, so. I think for Labrov in particular as well, he was he was finding his way a lot, I think, in the EU ecosystem, and he didn't have the best showing, for instance, on Vitality as well. And this was a player that we, before even he joined the league, heard a lot about. He is so promising. He's going to do so well. And it's really nice to see that he can show it now. And at Worlds, that's kind of a great opportunity to do so.
And because of the priority on these engaged supports, primarily the Alistar, Rakan, and Rel, it becomes so incredibly important for your support to be able to set up these plays and control the battlefield like he has done for his team to get them here.
And this is still against JDG, who I've talked about as having almost the perfect team setup, with 369 being a weak side tank player, Knight and Ruler being the best laners in their respective roles.
Yeah.
How have they lost?
It's a great question, because if you go back to some of their few losses, again, one against Weibo coming off MSI, I feel like you discount that because it was off the back of MSI. LPL split started really early due to Asia games, but you go to their IG loss in the regular season and you're like, well, attack 369 on the top side, limit his impact. When in team fights, look for that pick off as well. Use your engaged jungler wisely in that respect. I think that's a great place to start. However, when you start looking at the weaknesses of JDG, you're like, well, that's so niche and it's so hard to pull out. Like, IG did that, but can BDS do the same thing? Can they really double down on top side and take him out of the running? And is Kanavi having a great day? Is another thing I'll slip in.
Oh, there's so many questions indeed. Dylan Falco commented on kind of scrimming and playing versus JDG, and he said, they're the hardest team to play, full stop, even if you get a huge lead. They are so good at taking those small percentage plays, and you can never feel safe. The question is, you know, is BDS even going to get in a position where they can get those advantages? Because we talk about the top lane a lot, but we just have to kind of throw a dart and it lands in the mid lane, and you look at Knight, who had an unbelievable year as well. So it's just a mountain to climb.
First all-pro team as well for Knight. As you said, individual skill, top 2 in every single lane across not only the LPL, but I would say world. I don't know if that's too biased for you guys here.
I mean, that's all right.
You asked me to be on the desk as LPL representative. I truly believe top 2 in every position, and we also have the best player in the world currently in AD Carry.
They're on the golden road for a reason.
Yep.
They have won everything. I think that one of the things BDS can do, one of the things I actually really like about Adam is how sometimes he just abandons top lane, and he will roam to mid lane. He will roam to bottom lane. He will sacrifice minion waves to try and upset the normal trajectory of a game. So maybe that is a way to upset giants.
Maybe. We'll see. Upset gods, you mean?
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
that was a Brandon Covey.
We'll see. There is, of course, that little thought in the back of my head sometimes about JDG and LPL favorites.
I mean,
in big tournaments, and they're super hyped, and they're the most hyped ever, and they're the best ever, and they're the most likely.
I like this.
Literally last year, the LPL won MSI,
and
then it was 2 Korean teams in finals.
Yeah, true.
It is a struggle to carry the MSI hype towards Worlds year over year for the LPL.
And I think what's, we can talk about it in a bit, but it's very hard to win a World Championship because it's a long road, even if it is golden. But we'll see if they stumble at the first hurdle. It is JDG versus BDS.
All right, they brought up some of the worst memories of my career, but that's okay. Hysterics and I, we can console one another. Just talking about 2015 in any way just really bothers me. Hopefully JDG are not the team to worry us.
Both EDG and Deft eventually won Worlds.
They also won MSI that year.
Yeah, did that help?
Yeah, well, like, no, nothing really helps sell
I don't know,
burn.
I want to try.
Yeah, no, but let's see whether BDS have anything up their sleeves. They do have a little bit more experience in the tournament thus far, you know, feeling a little bit more stage warm perhaps
the play-ins
than
effect.
JDG. Play-ins effect can work out. We saw Levi actually make some pretty good plays against Gen G, at least in the earlier stages of the game. And as far as JDG and who they're looking at, it's probably Gen G as the team at the top of that list of most wanted teams. But speaking of, let's welcome them to the stage now. JDG, the team that everyone's out here to beat. They are looking, and I agree with Hysterics, right? All bias aside, this is top 2 in every role. Ruler is probably the best player in the world right now. And I think the last tape that we got of this team, except for missing, I think, was Asia Games, where it felt to me like the parts of JDG were what helped Korea get over the line.
Yeah, JDG, incredible. And what I want to highlight as well is the same reason why Jet mentioned that winning so consistently over a year is so hard is the same reason why JDG is so fair. It doesn't feel like they're tied to his style. I think a lot of LPL teams, when they've shown, it's because they are very good at one specific style, but we've seen already today, TL, they brought it to T1, and BDS do the same.
And speaking of style, let's invite BDS out onto the stage, and Korea's favorite non-Korean player in Adam. They love this man. They were the World Qualifying Series. Lowell Park could not keep its roof on because of how much these players loved Adam.
And for BDS, obviously, going to be a gargantuan task. But I do agree with you, particularly in a best-of-1 scenario, having the stage experience, having already played a lot, being able to kind of define your own meta, what works for us, that is going to be valuable. It boils down to, is it enough? Because
that is true.
The LPL is very full. Obviously, 17 teams means that you face so much more variety in playstyles in what people try to throw at you. And JDG able to deal with almost all of it. And that is a very, very scary thing to go up against.
Certainly is, and you know, Knight has had some woes at Worlds in the past. Ruler, of course, has won Worlds. Also, in his debut year, looked pretty good as well. But there's a lot of consistency on this roster, and I think that harkening back to those times where the LPL has all of these expectations coming into Worlds and then they fail to deliver, I just don't think that that is going to be a thing that's going to happen with this team, especially this part of the tournament. We'll have to see what happens in knockouts, but I think that you can pretty safely look towards that stage of the tournament for JDG, because this team is just so good.
Particularly after MSI, and of course, as the desk also mentioned, MSI has been very LPL favored for a while, but due to the new format, the double elimination bracket, BLG making an incredible run, and then running into the team that has been the only team worldwide to consistently beat them was definitely an ending. We're going to see BDS. What do they have in the tank, and is it going to be enough to throw off JDG? Or are we going to see something similar to the last game where a #1 seed from the LCK took on a play-ins team, and it was a rough affair?
It was, but T1 also took on TL, and that was close.
I'm very close.
I'm hoping that one's the one that happens. Darius going to be the first one banned away here from Adam. Normally we'd say the team name when there's a ban that comes in, but no, that's an Adam ban. He can have that one all to himself. Talia going to be taken off the board here as well. Kanavi following in the footsteps of some phenomenal Talia players, and he is certainly one to watch out for as well. So good flex ban. Knight, of course, fantastic on that pick also. The Orianna feeling a little bit like a ban that will have to come throughout this tournament. I think Orianna bans are going to ramp up as this tournament goes on, just given some of the names that we are going to see here. And 369 not allowed to play the cannon. Certainly, it's one of his picks that he does still like to go to that isn't of that tank variety like they were talking about. And Adam gonna probably flash a few more options here.
Oh yeah, oh he will. So what I'm looking towards is Xayah and Rakan, or one of the two of that combo. Because I do think that Ruler, my point, letting Ruler play Xayah, no. You know, maybe you have a counterplay. Is it much better to face up against something like a Xayah? It's always going to be choose your, you know, least. Yeah, choose your exactly. So I don't think you're ever going to feel amazing, but I think the Xayah, particularly for him, both in the LCK and in the LPL, is such a standout pick. Obviously, also where he got his world skin. So denying that, I think, is a great start here from BDS. The only downside is I am wondering if JDG is actually going to keep the counter pick, given that they're red side, all the way to the end. Because if Adam is forced to blind pick, for example, on Renekton, like they did many a time, that's when we've seen BDS struggle a little bit more.
Yeah. Viego being hovered here by Sheo, I feel like that could be an early Viego pick. Rakan up and available. They can lock in the Xayah Rakan if they'd like to, but the Vi going to be taken first. A very red theme. I do very much like the color coordination thus far. Not giving too much away. In a composition like this, you have a lot of engage via the Vi, a lot of pick opportunity, things like that as well, but you can kite back with the Xayah and the Rakan. So Jarvan going to be locked in here. Man, I'm feeling like I'm back in the LPL, which was so many years ago now, but Jarvan certainly a staple.
It's just Jarvan. You know, he's been virtually unchanged for like, what, 10, 11 years at this point?
As soon as Ambition retired, though, I felt like Jarvan fell out of the meta forever in Korea. So I've missed my opportunities.
Yeah,
apart from support. Please stop.
I don't want to be reminded of that. What I do think is that JDG already have a very strong core. I do like the Rakan and Vi. I think that having an aggressive dive duo like that really allows you to reliably put threat on Ruler. Now, with missing playing Alistar, consistently getting on top of him might be tough, but we'll see if BDS can try and find an angle. You can add like an Ahri on top of this. I'm wondering if JDG want to just not risk it and ban it away, even though I don't think Knight in 1v1 will have any issues, just to ensure that there is not too much backline dive, because eventually can kind of hit a point where no matter how good Ruler is positioning, they're going to be able to get on top of it.
Yeah, you don't even need to ban it because they have the first pick opportunity. You can just pick that one away. Knight, a fantastic Ahri player just in general. So they are going to run out the very end of this clock, and it will be the Olaf taken away. So the O and the D from the gods, it's just GS now. That's all we have. It's a convenience store here in Korea.
It is.
Fun fact. There we go. The last ban from BDS, Going to be the last one here. And then we're going to be getting into what the next options are. Both of these teams just have so much flexibility. We don't really know what the identity is going to be just yet.
It's going to be the Renekton banaway. Pick has dropped in priority throughout the first half of the day, but it has been something that BDS has kind of defaulted to. Wonder if we're going to see them just pick up K'Sante. That feels like the obvious pick here. A pick that can both dive aggressively. Obviously, as mentioned, 369 I think is very capable of playing carry matchups.
Garen.
Does Garen it as well? Yeah?
Why not blind Garen? Does 369 have a blind Teemo prepared? That's the question. We'll see where Adam is actually going to go. And they're just going to lock it in. Okay. Blind Garen, not something that I would recommend.
There we go.
And Cassio going to come in as well for Nuke. Yeah. I think, like, honestly, I love this approach from BDS. They're like, guys, what do you want to play? Let's just make sure that you're as comfortable as possible. We'll see how it goes. And Sheo, of course, 13-4, I believe, on the Vi at this point in time. Extraordinarily dominant on that pick. And Ornn is going to be the consideration here and will be locked in for 369. He's pretty good at this champion.
Very much so. Yeah. But I don't love the matchup into Garen with the amount of true damage that he is able to do. The main worry that I do have for BDS is if you look at the JDG composition, this is a composition that at any point in the game is able to find a team fight win, right? It is very short range, and that's in theory where picks like Xayah and Cassiopeia should have a field day.
Yeah.
I don't expect Ruler to go for the AP build. I think that would lead the team being way over-indexed on AP, makes itemization very easy for BDS. So Ruler is actually going to have to come close, and even with his level of positioning into Xayah and into Cassio, that can be a risk. If BDS can, make it through the laning phase, try to keep good track of Kanavi, with that Garen wildcard, even though at this point it shouldn't really be a wildcard anymore, right?
No,
We've seen him go
it's just an
very
pick.
consistently. I think this is as good of an angle as you're going to get if you're BDS.
No, absolutely. And I just love the amount of comfort. I love that they have just over-indexed into that, not really worried about what JDG are going to do. And JDG have a pretty stock standard composition, right? But they don't have an overabundance of damage, and there could be an angle here, like you were talking about. Damage and range, as far as where this mid-game is going to come around. Ahri's notorious for not necessarily having those high damage builds, what with the Everfrost and Horizon Focus and things like that coming on through. Ruler is, of course, going to be a massive problem, but we'll see whether they can mitigate that with something that they've prepared earlier. Let's jump into the Rift. Here for the fourth game of the day. JDG, definitely tournament favorites up against BDS, a team that honestly I doubted up against Golden Guardians in the World Qualifying Series, and they have been just crossing out our doubts over and over.
We were there. We were expecting it to be a long day.
Exactly.
It was not a long day.
When PSG was up 2-0.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was also a time where the doubts came in. But remember, guys, you can connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive experimentation emote. So make sure you do that. Just free stuff, It's just the best. We almost saw a Heimerdinger today as well.
Adam went Ignite as well. Which,
I mean, you have to. No, any Garen, if you're ever going to play Garen, you have to take Ignite.
I know.
It's like, so you know how Huni gets really bothered by Rumbles that don't take Ignite?
Same principle.
It's
worse.
Understand. If you don't take Ignite on Garen, it's worse.
Yeah, of course. I understand. Just maybe, you were not a play-ins watcher, which probably the best play-ins we've had. The format change, I think, a rousing success. A lot of competitive matches, a lot of cool storylines, both for teams and in between the regions. But this is not. This has happened a lot. We've seen this not just in the LEC, Adam going for his Garen, but it's been wildly successful. And at the same time, I do think for JDG, neither of these two picks, the Garen and the Cassio, should come as a surprise. No. It mainly becomes about how well is JDG able to deal with it. Because if all goes evenly with the team fighting capabilities that JDG have, it's hard to imagine them losing, right? Because of how dominant they've been throughout the entirety of the year. As a very early invade here from Sheo actually passed straight from his red buff to Kanavi.
The red I love this. It's just no holes barred. They're like, let's just try and get as much as we can for free, and see whether we can come out on top. As 369 adds some brittle to Adam, and Adam doesn't have the greatest time there. And there are just those times where some Ornn players just absolutely obliterate a matchup, and you're just sitting there wondering why not everyone just picks Ornn all the time.
Yeah.
And it can just be some of those things that happens. We'll see whether Adam is going to be able to get through, because right now things are relatively even. Adam on the push, and Kanavi going to get the bad news that his blue buff has been taken away.
Oh, yeah. Kanavi definitely should be suspicious. I like this from Sheo, though. If Kanavi does make a mistake, walk up, might be into deep trouble. Oh, they're trying to get the jump on him.
Yeah, the Vault Breaker does come on through here. Let's see whether Nuke can get himself in, but it's going to be the charm, and the flag drag is going to get Kanavi out. So in the end, you know, some buttons being pressed and some damage being exchanged. Sheo not going to find too much, as he is just going to try and deny the opposite side takeaway of that blue buff.
And that's really important, right? And this is where the Garen actually does a lot. Garen or Adam should be able to, although right now actually is down a level. So 369 has been able to maintain control over this lane. And if Sheo doesn't have Adam with priority, then Kanavi can actually play way more aggressive. Same for Knight.
Well, Sheo is just going to immediately get towards this top side. It's a big wave stacked up, and Kanavi has now dealt with the crab. Could be a 2v2 incoming very, very quickly. Adam's just going to flash for it. They find the silence, and 369 will be put down. First blood to the Garen.
And the play from BDS was a risk. If Kanavi path stopped, they might be in trouble, but no! 369 gets caught off guard. Sheo gets the flash of Vault Breaker, and as a result, early kill to come through here for Adam at the cost of a blue buff. Considering Sheo invaded, gonna be more than happy to pay that.
I'm starting to think that if Nocturne presses E on any BDS player, it doesn't work. It just doesn't do anything. That's what I'm starting to figure, because there is no fear from this squad. And the KBS Arena, they're into it. This would be an incredible story. However, it is still very, very early on.
It's a kill. Yeah, it's good. It's
I'm
a great
going to celebrate it, Chronicler. You best believe.
I like the attitude. As Adam does have to unfortunately peace out. Kanavi.
And that's a big wave.
Yeah, that's not only a big wave, but I think 369 is going to be able to get the cancel as well. And Adam, the virtue of his Ignite, does not have TP. So he's going to try and just eat this. He does the flash. Oh, he does have courage.
He's got courage. He's not going to get knocked up.
He's brave.
Oh, this time around. And this is exactly what we were talking about. He's not out of the woods just yet, though. And there's the knock-up. Does find the silence here onto 369, who may fall, but the damage to the lane is the biggest problem. He's not even going to go down. 369 expends the flash. Berserker's Greaves now picked up for Adam, but this is in shambles up here. Oi.
Yeah,
okay. And as the dust settles, JDG have a decent advantage as far as money is concerned. The first blood, wasn't that something?
Yeah, so Kanavi ensuring that 369, his game remains playable by putting a lot of pressure early on here. Now, this will lead to a dragon being taken. That is the counter response. Again, this player, Sheo, actually sneaking out of vision, right? Not being spotted by Kanavi. They think that he is just in his own blue side jungle. Completely catches 369 off guard. But then we see 369 then gets the teleport back to lane with a full health bar. Adam, no such luxury, playing Ignite, and while the initial gank doesn't work, there is no one nearby. We see as well, and I think that it's the right call from BDS. You're never going to be here in time, and there is no way that Adam should be able to survive that. They get a Drake, but I think that JDG making sure that the lane doesn't snowball too far out of control, very big. Does that bother Adam? No.
I like how he gets a cheer from the crowd here.
They love it,
just
man.
for farming between turrets.
He's just proxying.
100% deserved. 100% deserved. 369 deals with the minion wave, and he will retain a slight lead.
They know.
Yeah, Kanavi. Oh, flag first. It's always what you do.
Yeah, that's good. Good read and
that's
good research by
Demacian
JDG.
sense. I think you get that if you play Jarvan into Garen. As Hepapov is going to come through here. Labrov just getting himself out, but the call of the Forge God does come down. Adam says, I do not fear goats. And he is just going to walk out of the way. A ram? Is a ram a goat? I think it's a... Is the Ford...
Atlas, I don't feel like I am well equipped to speak on the topic of biology, so I'm gonna default and let you review that one's ruler.
Yeah, Crownie throwing out some feathers here, missing. Going to take a bit of damage. Ruler not wanting to take that one lying down, however the Void Seeker is not going to find its target. And if we actually check into how this lane is going, kind of fine, pretty even between the two. As 369, yeah, Adam just not really looking too worried about what the Ornn is doing and is consistently getting the shove as, okay, Kanavi now going to find a little bit of a knock-up. But with this wave being so large, 369 not going to be able to leave because he needs that money.
There is also the fact that Adam is now level 6, right? So both with Ignite and his ultimate, you really have to respect. Even if you trade evenly, I think the wave state at this point, you'd still be fine. Killing Adam at that point in time might actually be beneficial for 369, even if you trade 1-to-1. But you want to make sure that he doesn't get further ahead. I think that Garen actually is able to do a lot better in late game scenarios than a lot of people think, particularly against short range AD carries like the Xayah. But I do think you are somewhat reliant on not being made completely obsolete, right? And I think the attention that both junglers are paying towards the top side of the map thus far in this game is testament to that, as everyone's roaming besides the AD carries. BDS look like they might want to still go for this. They do have Labrov there.
Yeah, Kanavi just immediately going to get ulted, silenced as well. It's going to be difficult as the ult comes down. Cataclysm is there, but Adam, he's not scared of a ring of rocks. 369 now using the Bellows Breath to try and deny the CC, but it's not going to deny the knock-up, and Nuke's going to grab that kill. It's now 3-1 to BDS.
And BDS not only are going to get the kills, they're also going to be able to take themselves the Rift Herald. And I keep on, we know what Garen does, right? Like, we know at this point, he silences you,
and then he goes around a lot,
and then he ults, and with Ignite you die.
Yeah. Zero counterplay. He's the best champion in the game.
And we have seen enough of JDG to know that this alone not really going to dissuade anyone, but it continues the trend, I think, that we've been seeing today that was started by T1. NTL,
yeah,
the best of one.
It just, Adam reminds me of one of my favorite Kobe quotes, which is, I think, in reference to Zatai, and he just says, he plays Garen on purpose. And Adam absolutely epitomizes that, and it's not even a meme. No. It's not even weird. He wins with his champion.
And I think Asterix mentioned this as well. In the rare instances where JDG does get beaten, it's when Kanavi's not having a great day. There's Nuke.
Yeah, the Ram going to come through, gets the flash. Out of Nuke, good respect there, but no flash on Cassiopeia. Certainly an opportunity here for JDG.
Yeah, great roam there from 369. No flash on Cassiopeia, and particularly with the amount of aggressive pressure that's available is big. But that roam will cost him. We see here, right?
It's a lot of plays.
Yeah, he's up 1k gold. And he has a red buff, Atlas.
He's casually strolling out of like every button press as well. Just wanders towards the plate, collects Sheo. That. Oh yeah, Sheo gonna get knocked up here by the flag and drag, missing, just looking for the headbutt pole angle, he'll find it. Sheo lit on fire, is going to be able to get out of the Cataclysm with a Vault Breaker. And he'll be A-OK for now, does have to expend the flash. Labrov in danger, but he's Rakan.
Gonna be a good trade there for JDG. Sheo not having flash does take away a lot of the pressure, particularly of Ruler, in a fight that might be coming up. And JDG is able to stay relatively in, but if Adam gets like first turret bot off of this, which is not very far off, Atlas, and becomes an unanswerable threat in the side lane, we'll see how JDG finds a way to deal with that.
They are going to be able to even out the Drake count. Next one going to be a Mountain Soul. Imagine if Adam presses W when he has a Mountain Soul. That sounds a little bit frightening. And JDG now just looking to defend around this map. I imagine that JDG have absolutely no worries at all. Like, I imagine the comms are still fine.
Oh, for sure.
They're not worried about how this one's going. But I tell you what, very proud of how BDS have played this early game out thus far.
And something I want to highlight as well, BDS is known for their dragon stacking, right? They really love playing towards that objective. If you pick up a ton of defensive resistances, MR armor, where does JDG damage actually come from? Because when we get to late game, it'll just be Ruler. Like, obviously, we joke a lot about Ornn and his ambient damage. Same for Kanavi. Jarvan isn't really a tank, he's more of a bruiser. But I do think that champions like the really entire top side of JDG don't really get to be as big of a threat once you do stack a ton of free resistances, and particularly with some of the builds, right? Obviously, you mentioned already, Adam, surely going to be going towards at least a semi-tanky build with the W added to the Dragons, but they do actually need to get the Dragons, and we haven't seen a 5v5 yet, and that is where many teams are unable to match up to what JDG offers. This turret, though, is gone, and Sheo's here.
They're looking for the Demolish proc, and now 369 is in trouble. However, Kanavi, Knight, both of them moving on up, and Adam just gets himself out of there. Did you know you can press Q and you run fast?
Sheo actually, the reason he gets out there, I think 369 knew, is because of the empowered Herald recall. Otherwise, he would have died.
Yeah.
Able to make it out, and now BDS will have the Heralds. If they can leverage that Herald into a Mountain Drake early on, setup's going to be amazing. But again, we need to hold off on any really big judgment until we see a 5v5.
I want to see Ruler do some things with some champions in the area.
Has drafted for.
All right, not going to get the knock up onto Sheo. He's going to answer with his ult. The Everfrost is fantastic, and now the Ram comes in. Petrifying Gaze comes down, though Kanavi's in trouble, but he survives for so long. 1-for-1 so far. The Bellows breath coming through, and Nuke will be pounded by the hammer of the Blacksmith, and Labrov just headbutted out of the fight. JDG striking back.
Case in point there. JDG sending multiple members towards the mid lane. Able to punish BDS. Little bit of greed there from Adam. Could have just gone for Kanavi straight up, but instead tried to get the kill on Knight. Knight's able to get out. As a result, 369 can just keep going forward aggressively. But still, even despite this, I think that with the topside turret, gold lead is there. Now, again, I'm going to be looking towards the Dragon. If BDS gets to like a soul point in this game, you can leverage, as we see in the MasterCard lane economy snapshot, that 1300 gold lead on Garen in a situation where JDG have to answer you every single Drake could be really valuable.
It's this is not how I was expecting this game to go. However, JDG have had slower early games in the past. This is just really nicely played. I really like the Everfrost from Knight, certainly demonstrating that he's still got it. Petrifying Gaze was good, but with 369 turning up the right time, just a bit wrong.
Yeah, Adam there also. Actually, in hindsight, I think going for Knight might have been the right call there. I don't think you ever kill 369. Also, importantly, the fact that Kanavi not able to hit the flag and drag there could have made that play a lot more secure, because then you don't have to go as deep. Can use your ultimate in a more defensive way. Knight immediately gets the setup. Not going to end up being the case. And Rift Herald about a minute away as Adam roams towards the bot side. And I expect, just trying to make the play here towards this turret. Take that down before Dragon spawns, and Ruler can't do anything.
Yeah, Adam just going to demolish that one. His Stridebreaker has been completed. Even more ability haste on top of that. He's looking for the Black Cleaver. And look at this man. He's spinning, walking into the enemy jungle like he owns the place.
And because all these plays are working out for BDS, Adam isn't actually falling behind, right? 369 is able to farm his way back in the game, actually has an experience lead. Ruler does have ult. Is that enough?
Yeah, Stridebreaker is not going to connect, but he is going to be able to get himself out. Does have to expend the Killer Instinct. And JDG, also on the other side of the map, going to collect themselves a Rift Herald. Second one being Shirley. Not exactly as high value as her sister Shelly, but still going to be able to try and break open some of these turrets here for JDG. As Crownie in this mid lane will be securing the minions, getting everything sorted out. Still, 2,000 gold lead for BDS is nothing to scoff at whatsoever. They'll be aiming for this Drake that is just spawning 1 second's time. There it is.
And now, this time, JDG actually are the one who have the Herald available. Might want to try and use that to generate prio in mid, force response out from BDS. Nuke obviously has his teleport available, is sitting on a lot of gold though, has been sitting on this just needlessly large rod for a while. It looks like BDS is going to at least give initial control over, and it makes sense. They want to give the time to Nuke, who I think is going to have an item finish. A lot of TP wards available, particularly that control ward there in the jungle.
Yeah, Adam just standing on vision. He's not too worried about it, but there's the Hex Splash. Pulverize, and he's just going to be taken down back to the Drake that they'd started earlier, and now it's a 4 versus 5. BDS just going to have to get out of here. They will have to give that one up, and Adam, unfortunate, didn't have his flash available or anything like that. Just got a little bit too overconfident.
Really big win there for JDG. Able to get, they're going in.
Yeah, looking for missing as their opportunity. He just presses the Unbreakable Will. And he should be all right. 369 on vision. Going to try and get over there as well. Puts a rock down. That is going to be enough to stop this one from meaning too much at all. BDS not going to really find an angle there. So back to the drawing board for BDS for now. As JDG, of course, like, this is what we have to talk. We got really excited about this early game and it looked really, really cool and things like that. But, I mean, to place a little bit of gravity on the situation, JDG, I don't think there's any team, like so many people have said, that team fighting is pretty good, Chronicler. And we're at a stage of the game now where the game becomes about the team fighting aspect of it. So I don't know whether BDS are quite ahead far enough.
Yeah, very straightforward replay. Adam just gets caught, doesn't have his flash, can't walk that far up. And JDG, they do have basically an infinite amount of CC, including Ruler, whose former CC is deaf. So trying to walk up too aggressive, it is. No counterplay to that one. The moment you walk up too far, particularly without flash, you don't really have anything that you can do against that. And I think BDS, their instinct was right, but you do see any mistake you make against JDG and you will get promptly punished. TP is going to get channeled, will be finished. BDS is respecting. With missing there, I do think that's the good call. And you see, this is where I'd expect BDS to really have to overperform, right? Because this is where we get into the JDG competition. Yeah. Yes, they're down a little bit of gold, but in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter that much. Ruler hasn't been put behind in any noticeable or significant way. And you still have Knight, who's in an awesome spot, sitting on, I think, 5 stacks on the Dark Seal. Might upgrade that, going for a more damage-focused build as well with the Sork Pen boots. And you're going to have to find a way around that duo in Missing and 369 who are going to keep the access to the backline very, very tight-knit.
Yeah. One thing that is definitely going well for BDS is the fact that Crownie is just even with Ruler right now.
He is.
Just having a pretty good time. Those quick blades are going to be coming through in a few moments' time. 369 turning up the mid lane, but not going to be able to find Crownie as Knight. All right, will he get the bad news? Flash is available for Adam, and he will not need it because cease and assist does come on down. Labrov looking for Knight. He's burning, he's ticking. It's not going to be enough, and Sheo's there with a flash smite to take down the Ahri. In the meantime, though, the Rift Herald's going to crush this outer turret in mid, and is possibly going to get another charge as well.
So you kill Knight, you'll probably be able to get an inner as well, so I think by the end it will be a net positive. If they can get this turret, it'll be a positive gold trade for BDS. That is 2 flashes, 3 ultimates invested. Give up a lot of mid control. The fact you're able to get that inner though means that in terms of gold, not the end of the world. Sheo going in really aggressively here.
Yeah, really aggressively. He's going to get knocked up. Crownie and Labrov are going to turn up here. Sheo should be taken down, but can they actually stand a chance in this fight as the Ram is going to pass by Crownie? They will be able to escape. Of course, pretty slippery is good old Rakan, so Labrov's okay.
Yeah, I do not think Sheo thought that all those people were there, which kind of explains, because he did have reinforcements on the way in Crownie and Labrov. That is really rough, because that is now flash gone on Sheo, but also Crownie's sums and ultimate are gone. I wouldn't be surprised if we see JDG try and put a lot of pressure here. And we do see that Ahri is incredibly slippery here. BDS also not quite able to get the clean CC layering right, the silence into the ultimate into
I have to say, the Everfrost again was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Knight plays that as well, as you could reasonably expect. And then Sheo here misjudging how many people, I think, are in his own jungle. They don't have a lot of control. And JDG actually, I think, in the long run, might call worth on that trade. What's important, though, is to what extent is JDG actually going to be able to walk up to any of these objectives? And are they going to be able to make use of the fact that BDS is down a couple of summoners?
Well, the win probability, powered by AWS, is still saying that it is BDS favored, but not by a large amount. And I have a feeling that that is probably going to continue on a downward trend unless we see something else, unless we see a little bit more of these coordinated plays that BDS have been able to put together. That kill on tonight, that is great. But doing that while JDG are grouped in mid, ready to destroy 2 turrets, that's when things can get a little bit more worrying.
Just the fact, though, that we start off the day, T1, obviously the second seed of the LCK, but still, it's T1. It's T1 at Worlds, right? Like, the org is always going to have insane expectations. Being very, very tightly matched by Team Liquid, and now the 4th seed of the LEC, who had to fight their way and reverse swept
PSG,
in play-ins. is having a performance such as this. It's a wonderful start to the Swiss stage. Regardless of the outcome here, I think this soul point for JDG is so big, and all BDS, you need to either get a pick or start the Baron about 15 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Because now time has passed and JDG is really starting to punish, I think, some of the hesitation from BDS.
Yeah, BDS, I think, struggling to figure out what the next step is going to be. And like you were talking about, this next dragon going to be extraordinarily important, and even the resistances that you gain from the Mountain Drake. But okay, we've got the Baron started. Kanavi is obviously right here.
Are we flipping?
I reckon that sounds like a decent idea.
Don't know
this
about
time Adam is
Adam.
on top of his own ward instead of the enemy's one. And let's see whether Ruler can keep himself alive, because he is going to face check the brush. There's the silence. He killer instincts to get himself out of the way, and he will survive with the cleanse now down. Adam also has to flash defensively. It's a trade of summoners. Not exactly end of the world from either team. That could have been worse for JDG, though.
I think BDS wanted to make sure that JDG would fall for it, but if the rest of BDS isn't ready to follow up the moment that Ruler has the killer instinct out, that play is not worth it. The flash on Adam is incredibly valuable and allows him so much more backline access. And yeah, I think if you're JDG, start it up.
Well, immediately it is going to get spotted here. Labrov getting himself towards that backline, as Sheo immediately turned on. His Vault Breaker's on cooldown. The charm comes in. The layering of CC is perfect, and Knight says goodbye. Enemy jungler. It's time to take down the Baron. And that is some pretty clean setup here from JDG. Missing now, just acting as gatekeeper to deny the rest of BDS, and stopping this Baron is going to be a heck of a tall order. 369 taking a bit of damage, but he's just buying space. Adam's spinning, but I don't think he's winning, as now Ruler's on the board with a kill on Crownie. Labrov goes down as well, and Adam's just going to have to get out of there. Petrifying Gaze. It's not named quite well enough at this point in time, as now Ruler's looking for a little bit more. Noxious Blast not connecting. The knock-up is there, and Nuke goes down as well. JDG, they just kill all of them.
It's a clean ace. Little bit of delay there. Sheo dying obviously earlier, but this is the reason why JDG is so feared, not just domestically but internationally. You can't make mistakes. Sheo here just steps up too far, thinks they're on the Baron, gets caught out by Missing, who's having a great game again on the Alistar. And with the jungler gone, JDG feels extremely comfortable. Crownie isn't even able to get off an ultimate, right? Like, I think he did have it available, not 100% sure with Spectator Client, but just gets 100 to 0. Even if he did have it, there was never any opportunity. It's that layering of CC that JDG have perfected over the year, and it's a 5-0, and they get Baron to boot.
They do. They get everything, and it would look like the setup. This is the thing, the way that JDG play around this vision, it looks almost like it's just a textbook being read out to you. By the way, this is how you take a Baron, PS. You get a cooldown from the enemy jungler, and you kill them, and then you take Baron. Look at how easy it is.
Baron power play is big. Runa doesn't have his flash available, but
5.6k.
Yeah, without Garen, I don't think you're killing a lot of people here.
Well, Garen is trying to kill a turret. Let's see whether this Demolish is going to help him remove that, and he does do so. Close to a 6,000 typical Baron power play until that turret goes down, which, like you say, is at least going to be a bounty. But trading a bounty for your Nexus is never really something that we would recommend. And now the win expectancy has gone from a little bit in favor to BDS to 90%, close to almost touching the bottom in favor of JDG.
And BDS fought valiantly, might be trying to go for one more play here. 369 isn't here right now.
Yeah, there is the cease and desist. Silence is down onto Kanavi, but he just turns it immediately. The Jarvan going to be the first one to go down. Sheo trying to get himself out of there. Labrov is going to be the sacrifice, and Nuke's going to go down as well. And now Ruler kind of taking matters into his own hands alongside Knight, who collects a triple kill, tidying up the fight.
And you get Kanavi, but at what cost? At cost of your Nexus Atlas. JDG gonna push on here. With a draft like this, you're given some leeway. And man, did they use it.
Well, I tell you what, BDS, they at least made it interesting, especially in the early stages of that game. And, you know, there's that Xerxes moment. There's the gods can bleed, that sort of stuff. They're not bleeding as far as their scoreline here in the tournament, but they at least did in the early game of this one. JDG's team fighting though, man. I think you're going to need a lot more gold ahead in order to be in a good spot there.
just isn't enough. We see, and this is the biggest difference I think that we see here. BDS, there's a couple of moments of hesitation, right?
Yeah.
There is around the Baron when they started up, but only after the Dragon is already taken. There's a couple of mistakes left and right from Sheo, who I think still played a great game. A lot of what it made the team look great was his early game on the Vi, but you can't afford any mistakes against this team. One
hesitation,
misstep, one moment of hesitation, one misstep, right? Getting caught out by missing. Those are the type of stuff. Even, you know, Adam and the gang being able to get Knights, but at such a hefty cost that it's not even really going to be worth it. The cross map is already set up before you've made the play.
And what it feels like when you're playing into the best teams of all time, right, is that default state of the game is enemy team is winning.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it is. Like, as the game goes on, it just naturally trends towards that team taking it, and it kind of felt like it here with JDG. I think the early game, kudos to BDS.
Yeah,
also,
absolutely.
the draft, just do what you love, do what you're good at, and hope that it's going to be okay. And as you can see, from the goal difference over time, it was good for a bit.
I also think Ruler's the first one that's made Stormrazor Xayah look like it does stuff. Because
I didn't really want to mention it.
Yeah, we haven't seen Stormrazor Ginsus do a whole lot, but in that game, it was great. Well done.
Whew. Man, that was
a good game.
That was one heck of a game 4, and honestly, didn't have a lot of expectations. BDS, though, I think any other team that's going to lose in this round needs to certainly give a little bit of respect to that one. But now it is time, I believe, to throw it to a short break, and then we will have the remaining half of the day immediately afterwards. Don't go anywhere.
Red Bull gives you wings.